Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing a deck that I am calling Landstorm, and it kind of focuses around a new card from Tarkir, Dragonstorm, but also uses a lot of older cards to help get us there. So that new card is Dragonback Assault. It is a 6 mana enchantment in Temur, which is green, blue and red, so it's 3 and 1 of each colour. It says when it enters, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, so it acts as a really expensive Brother's End, basically. But it has landfall. Whenever a land we control enters, we create a 4/4 red dragon token, creature token with flying. So obviously our deck is built around getting lands into play and getting a big board. Now, I say that, doesn't happen very often, because when we play Dragonback Assault, quite often our opponent scoops, which is kind of frustrating, but, you know, a win's a win. And to back up the Dragonback Assault, we have some returning cards and new cards. So new cards are Encroaching Dragonstorm. So there's basically Dragonstorm for each colour with a different word in front. So this is Encroaching. 4 mana. When it enters, we search a library of the 2 basic land cards, put them in the battlefield tap, then shuffle. And then all the Dragonstorms have, when a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. So it lets you replay. We do have 1 copy of the Breaching Dragonstorm, which we played in the Storm Scale Scion deck the other day. 5 mana. When it enters, exile cards on top of our library till we exile a non-land card. We may cast it without paying its mana cost if it spells mana values 8 or less, which everything in our hand is. If you don't, put a card in your hand. And again, when a dragon we control enters, return its enchantment to its owner's hand. We don't actually have any dragons in our deck, but the idea is, you know, if this hits our Dragonback Assault and then we play a land, we get a dragon onto the battlefield, which puts the Dragonstorm back into our hand. Same for Encroaching Dragonstorm. Obviously, it gets lands, so it will create dragons. That is the last. Oh no. Other new card, Temur Battlecrier. So it's 3 mana for a 4/3. So pretty beefy body for a low cost, although it is 3 colours. It says during our turn, spells we cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. And this can get out of hand. And obviously it doubles up. So if we have 2 Temur Battlecriers, they both see in themselves and each other, leading to a cost reduction of 4, and it can be quite confusing trying to figure out how much mana you have. And basically, most of our creatures, well, all our creatures apart from Llanowar Elves, have power 4 or greater, and those creatures are Overlord of a Hauntwood. It puts lands onto the battlefield, which is great for Dragonback Assault. Lumbering World Wagon, it's not a creature, it doesn't necessarily have power 4, but it does search for a basic land when it enters or attacks, and it can crew for 4 and will often be power 4 or greater. And what's really good, if we play this on turn 3 or even turn 2 with Llanowar Elves, and then the next turn play a Battlecrier, we can crew the World Wagon. It becomes a creature. We then probably have 2 creatures with power 4 or greater, or we can attack with the World Wagon to get another land to get up there, and then suddenly we have 2 cost reduction, which means we might even be able to play another spell on that turn itself. As I said, 4 Llanowar Elves, 4 copies of the Beanstalk. We don't have a huge amount of expensive spells. Overlord is 5, and obviously even if we impend it, and Dragonback Assault is 6, but we are a doppelgang deck. We are in blue and green, and we generate a lot of mana. And as I said, if we have Temur Battlecrier on the deck on the battlefield, it can be hard to figure out what we can cast it for. I think in one game, just before our opponent scooped, I worked out I could have cast it for 8, which would have been bonkers. And, you know, doubling up or copying up the Beanstalks or our Overlords, even our World Wagons, Temur Battlecrier to get, you know, extra cost reductions, or Dragonback Assaults. If we, you know, copy Dragonback Assaults and then Encroaching Dragonstorm, we're going to create a lot of dragons, and we can stack the triggers so that it does the damage, and then we get the lands to create the dragon. So that's basically our end game. Just cast a couple of huge doppelgangs, and then as I said, Llanowar Elves, copies of Burst Lightning for cheap for lower toughness creatures, and then Timed Explosion, which lets us obviously draw 2 cards, and we can discard 2 cards. When we do, it deals X damage to each creature, where X is the greatest mana value must cast these cards away. Obviously, it only goes up to 6. And there are some beefy bodies, and we only have 1 6 drop, but we do have a few 4 and 5 drops with the Overlord and the 2 Dragonstorms. Mana base, so it's a bit whiffy. We do have Frontier Bivouac and 4 copies of Fabled Passage, 4 Hedge Maze because it counts as an island, and we do have 1 Kishla Village, which isn't a Temur land. It's a Salt Island, but so it enters tapped unless we control an island. So obviously Hedge Maze counts as an island, and we can pay for untap it to surveil to, and then basic lands for us to fetch up with our World Wagon. And Encroaching Dragonstorms. Originally, I did have a more, things like Blast Zone and Demolition Field, because I wanted to play World Soul's Rage, which is green and red and an X, and we deal X damage to any target, and then we can put X lands from our hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. And I thought that would work well with Dragonback Assault, but we're not a mill deck, so it's hard to get lands in a graveyard. So that's why I was like, well, Fable Passage and Demolition Field and an Evolving Wilds and Blast Zone lands we can put into our own graveyard, but it just didn't work out. And same with Kisha Village, we went down to 1 and surveil, so we could surveil away lands, but now we're not really doing that. You could probably get rid of that and put in, more basic lands. But that's why we're not playing any of the Verges or any of the dual lands which enter untapped if you have 2 or less lands. So that's why. This deck, it's getting there. It's pretty powerful. As I said, our opponent often scoops before we do the thing. It can go long with Ill-Timed Explosion wiping the board, and obviously card draw from up the beanstalk. And we only have 2 doppelgangs. I think you could probably get rid of 2 burst lightnings and put up the 4 doppelgangs, because often you might doppelgang for 1 or 2, but then you're copying probably Overlord or Encroaching Dragonstorm or London World Wagon, which then lets you cast your next doppelgang for 3, and then suddenly you're off to the races. But it's a fun deck, and I do like Dragonback Assault. It's a bit like Ravenous Baloths, which I did have in the deck as well. A 6 mana 6/6, which has landfall of when a land enters you create a 4/4 beast. It's kind of similar, but this isn't a creature itself, so it's harder to remove. And Rampaging Baloths, that's it, is also great to steal with Doppelgang, as you will see in one of the games. But anyway, that's the deck. Really hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. If we draw a land and we can go up the beanstalk into Overlord, that'll be very good. But we do need a second green. So they're a Reanimator deck. And there's a blue. Well, I think we World Wagon then. Get our second green source. And if we draw a third green source, we can up the beanstalk and Overlord. Well, we don't, but let's see if we can hit a land drop. We can. I think we're going to draw a decent amount of cards next turn. But let's keep it, make sure we hit a land drop. What do they have? I only have another Valgavoth Faithful, so they can't reanimate anything yet. Kind of annoying how much play Sheoldred still gets. Let's activate our World Wagon. We up the beanstalk. And then draw an annoying amount of cards with Sheoldred. An Ill-Timed Explosion would be nice. I mean, we are 100% blocking. They must have another one. Or they're just going to reanimate it with Bag of Us Faithful. You don't have enough lands. Fair enough. Well, let's just Dragonstorm twice. I suppose we can play out the Beanstalk. Now they haven't got shouldered. I would really like a doppelgang. If they do just reanimate shouldered, we can't Dragonback Assault. I mean, we are 100% blocking again. Because we will now Dragonback Assault. Draw a ton of cards. Don't have many more basics left. And next, well, we can just Fabled Passage to get another dragon. Swinging for lethal. I can Virtue. Well, that's kind of annoying. Guessing they take the assault. Oh no, an Overlord. Well, let's get in with our singular dragon. We have one more basic in the deck. Oh, I should have played the Wild Wagon. Oh well, never mind. What do they hit? Bit of Triumph. They should have discarded. Yeah, that was silly of them. Our opponent goes first, but I do like this hand. Land White Elves into World Wagon, and then hopefully crew the World Wagon with Battlecrier. Just don't kill our elves. They're gonna kill our elves. In that case, I will fetch a red with a Fable Passage. So Windows playing an Omen deck. We do play out the World Wagon next turn. So unless they had a counter. I think we just get green then. We need that more than anything. And next turn we can Battlecrier. Crew the World Wagon. It's odd playing. Well, I suppose they probably have Overlord. Or they doing the Carnosaur. The Carnosaur kind of combo. Unless Dragonstorm, we could have actually attacked to reduce the cost further. Yeah, it dying to Virtual Persistence is really annoying. Well, I think we Ill-Timed Explosion, see what we draw. We will not put anything back. Well, there's Dragonback Assault. So next turn, I think we can go off a bit. I'm going to hold up Fable Passage then. I would love them to tap out. No counter, please. Let's smack in for 10. You don't find out basic lands again. And I'll hold up the Cracking the Fable Passage at the end of their turn. In case of a board wipe. Tyrannax Rex. Doesn't have reach, but it does have haste. But yeah, we create another 4/4. We crew. Well, no, we can attack in for 12, play another land, crew the World Wagon with the dragon that gets created. Obviously, they have to block the World Wagon. But then we're hitting him for 12 in the air. Can even Dragonstorm, see what we hit. And yeah, fun. I'm not particularly happy with this hand, but I think even a turn 2 land and white elves. I would love to draw a green source. That's not a green source, that's a red source. Part of me thinks I should get blue for real-time explosion. But I think we get green for Nano Elves and Lumbering World Wagon, which can get our... Okay, in that case, let's just up the Beanstalk. For a second, up the Beanstalk. Next time we can World Wagon to get our blue. Well, that's a bit annoying, but we do have another one in hand. We get a blue source, an island, and next turn we can wipe their board. Yes, we will discard. I don't think it's a bit too late for Llanowar Elves. And Dragonstorm. They do get a draw. And we do have another one if we need it. Got another scrap shooter. Hope not, because I want to play the Battlecrier, crew the World Wagon. Oh, they have their own World Wagon. We'll play the Battlecrier, crew. Get a forest and full power our Overlord. And then we can get a pretty big doppelgang going. Their own Overlord. It's fine. Bushwhack? Oh, hard-hitting question. That is a bit of a bummer. Well, no, not the tap land. Let's beans. And then 5, 8, essentially 9, 10. So just 2, unfortunately. Unless I can try 3 for some reason. Alright, up the Beanstalk, Overlord, and Battlecrier. No. Just 2 then. Up the Beanstalk and Overlord. I can't... Oh, it does, because obviously the cost reduction. So obviously now they have to block. They could crew their World Wagon. which they are doing. They're up to 7, so if they have Ugin, we wouldn't be in a great place, but do they have another colourless?
My timeless wisdom guides your hand.
No.
Insight is vital to success.
Blooming Ugin. We draw 3. Well, let's attack down Ugin. This does do it to Planeswalkers. We do lose our Battlecrier, but we have another one. Oh, they never let us go off because we had 5 left, of which 3 green. Up the Beanstalk again. Encroaching Dragonstorm, create a ton of dragons. We have defeated Ugin, and then unless they have another one, I think they're obviously just dead next turn. Well, up the Beanstalk into Overlord is obviously very, very powerful. We do need a 3rd untapped land, but obviously with Hedge Maze, we've got a good chance of surviving into it, and the extra draw with up the Beanstalk. There it is anyway. Yeah, we'll keep that. Green might be elves. Or it could just be standard green good stuff. Up the Beanstalk. The next turn we can Overlord and draw again. They have their own Up the Beanstalk. We know they can impend an Overlord as well. Which they do. Well, a second Up the Beanstalk is always pretty good. We can play out the Battlecrier. Get down on elves. They full power an Overlord. So let's do this. And we'll get a red source. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, x equals 1's not the best. Well, let's just Encroaching Dragonstorm a couple of times. If we had a 5-drop in hand, we would have probably just ill-timed explosion. Nice, that's a big boy. I think we can doppelgang for 3. Yeah, we'll take 6. QQ. So that's 10, 11, minus 1. So we can up the beanstalk. This equals 3. We will grab a Rex, a Battlecrier. No, we won't get a Battlecrier. An Overlord. And just grab another Overlord, I think. And then back a mountain. That's a pretty big board. Say its name. I'm fairly sure we have lethal. Oh, nice. They're going to create a few bail-offs. I would love a Dragonback Assault. And a Doppelgang. Yeah, they are going wide, not as wide as we are. We'll block with one of our Rexes. Okie dokie. Oh! Obviously, tapping all our mana. Thing is, so we have 1, 7, 8, 11 creatures with power 4 or greater. So that reduces. We could literally doppelgang for 3 by paying 2. Then we have another 17. That puts it up to 28. So we could doppelgang for 8, I think. And we could literally, I think, Rampage and Baloths, Dragonstorm, and who knows what, and Overlord of the Hauntwoods, and just create an army of beasts. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the very quick wrap up. So we got there in the end with this deck. I'm quite happy with how this deck turned out. I think the only thing I would change, as I said in the deck tech, get rid of Burst Lightning, increase Doppelgang. We didn't really need Burst Lightning at all. And then maybe go down a couple of hedge mazes and put a few more basic lands in. We did get to a few stages in a few games where we were almost out of basic lands. And, our opponent had wiped the board, so we only could get a couple more dragons. And we just weren't drawing at non-basics, essentially. But we did have a lot of lands on the battlefield as well. So, maybe that. But yeah, really happy with this deck, and I really like Dragonback Assault. It's a powerful card, and if the board wipe mode gets you back to parity, or even pulls you ahead or something, or gets close, and then if you can get that landfall trigger or two from say like a Fabled Passage, or the trick I like to do was activate Crew the World Wagon with the Battlecrier. So we would get double cost reduction, so we could play Dragonback Assault for 4 and then still have mana up to maybe Encroaching Dragonstorm or Impending Overlord, get an extra land, play a land, get 2 or 3 dragons in one turn. That was the dream, and we got close a couple of times. So really fun, really powerful, using some of the new cards. Team of Battlecrier I really liked in the end. I'd rather it be a 3-4 annoyingly, because then it wouldn't die to Assault. But a 3 mana 4/3 is very powerful anyway, and then the cost reduction can just get a bit bonkers, especially with Doppelgang, and it lets you cast an Overlord for 2 or 3 when you can append it for 3, and it also does reduce the cost of the kicker for Burst Lightning. So often you can Burst Lightning with kicker for 1, which is also very, very powerful. So hope you all enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.